I've been podcasting for about 10 years now, and I've got probably 7+ things that I've learned about podcasting over those 10 years, and I'm going to share them with you today. Why did I start a podcast? Well, I started a podcast because I love listening to podcasts. I've been listening to podcasts for years, and the job that I had, I was able to listen to podcasts for hours and hours on a day, and I listened to all different kinds of podcasts. In the back of my mind, I always thought it would be cool to do a podcast, but my confidence, my tech skills just weren't there, so I really just kind of dismissed those feelings about trying to start a podcast. One year my wife came to me and she said, I know what I want to do for Christmas. And I said, well, what's that, honey? And she said, I'm going to buy annual passes for us four, 'cause I had 2 kids left at home. We're going to get annual passes for the kids and us, and we're going to go to Disney for 5 days. She said, I've done the math, and after 5 days, you've pretty much paid for your annual pass. Now, we live in Florida, we live 2 hours away, and we would go maybe once a year, maybe once every other year with the kids. So she figured that if we went for 5 days, it was going to pay for itself. So if we ever go after that, if we go back to Disney after that, it's going to be for free. Other than the gas and food and hotel stay. I wasn't real happy about that because I was already figuring ways I could spend that money on something else, like a jet ski or a boat or something. I tried to convince her not to do it, but she did it anyway. Well, I went, I had a great time. When that trip was over, I knew what I wanted to do a podcast about. I wanted to do a podcast about Disney. It made such an impression on me, that trip. And then I started thinking about my sister-in-law, who is a Disney fanatic. And we would go over and visit her in Disney when she went once a year or so, once every other year. And I thought, well, maybe if I got her as a co-host, that would be great. It would kind of be like the newbie and the veteran. We can kind of play off that because she knew a lot about Disney. Wasn't sure if she'd want to do it or not, but I called her on the phone when we got back from the trip and I said, would you be interested in doing a podcast about Disney? She didn't hesitate, didn't delay. She said, absolutely. It took us about 9 months before we did our first episode, and it was really my fault because the tech scared me. The tech part of it scared me. The microphones, the equipment, the recording equipment, the platforms, the social media platforms. Well, when I got back from Disney, I started a Facebook group, a Disney Facebook group. And that was the beginning. That was the beginning right there. And over those 9 months that it took me to download our first episode, I learned everything I could about podcasting. Now, I probably could have done it in a month, maybe 2 months, but it took me 9 months because I put it off. I put it off because I was scared. I was scared of the tech. I was scared of not knowing how to do it, and that held me back. I could have gotten a coach, but a coach would have cost me about $3,000. And I didn't have $3,000 to spend on it, but I had YouTube and I had time, and that's what I did. I taught myself how to do it on my own through videos on YouTube. I learned how to edit audio, finally downloaded our first episode. Now, 10 years later, I'm still doing it. I can't believe it. We're going on our 450th show. Probably more close to maybe close to 500 because of all the Patreons we do, the extra bonus episodes we do, the lives that we used to do. We used to do a lot of lives back during the great unpleasantness because you couldn't go to the parks back then. And Disney World was shut down. And so we used to do live feeds all the time during that period. And our community grew. And we don't have a big community. We have a small community, but it's a very tight-knit community that we have formed over these years. And I always thought that I'd rather have, 500 loyal listeners than 5,000 listeners that aren't really engaged. And that's proven to be true over these years. Because I look at some other Disney podcasts that have meetups, and these guys have 10 times more listeners, 10 times more subscribers than we do. And I see their meetups, and I see how many people come to their meetups. And then we've had meetups in the parks, and I see how many people we have. We've formed a very loyal listener base. And it's taught me a lot of things about life. One is friendships. Friendships that I never thought I'd have. Friendships that are lasting today. Friendships with people that live maybe an hour from here, that come to our family functions, come camping, come see us when we go camping, come to birthday parties, and just come out of the blue, just come and visit, and we go there. Made friends that live in other countries, in Great Britain, the Isle of Wight, that come down once a year. We go see them in Disney. We formed some friendships that I never imagined would be possible, and never would be possible if it wasn't for Disney, this Disney podcast. And I look back on it and I think, man, I didn't know any of those people before. Like, we lived on this big planet. Those people were existing out there and I had no clue who they were. And now I can't imagine them not in my life. So that's one thing that I've gained from doing this podcast. It wasn't easy. Sometimes I wanted to give up. Sometimes I don't want to record and I do it anyway. Sometimes I don't want to edit the podcast, but I do it anyway. And I got to a point in editing the podcast that it became an art. I know that sounds crazy, but I look at editing audio as an art. There's an art to it. And I learned from listening to other podcasts before I started mine. And when I started our podcast, I remember back to those podcasts that I listened to and that I still listen to. And I thought, let me really think about it. Let me listen to their podcasts and think about things that I would do differently or do the same. And I learned a lot, and I use some of those techniques today. It could be anything from music behind you while you're doing a podcast. It could be anything from transition music. It could be from intro music, outro music. It could be anything. Taking out the ums like I'm talking right now. Dead space. You learn from listening to other podcasts. So I did a lot of listening before I started my podcast. So if you're going to start a podcast, I suggest you become a podcast listener. Disney taught me a lot about people too. I mean, there's a lot of people that go to Disney, and I'm not good around crowds. I'm not good around people. I have a little bit of social anxiety. And I always say, you put 100 people in a room and at least one's going to be an ass, right? And that's the same it is with Disney. There's thousands of people there. Thousands and thousands of people in each park. So you just have to know that there's going to be a few that are just going to be asses. They're not going to be nice people. They're not going to be self-aware. They're going to do things that really irritate you, piss you off. And you think to yourself, why? Why would you do that? But you know what? The majority of the people out there are good people. The majority of them are just as nice as can be. And I've met some really, really cool people standing in line. Standing in line for a ride. I've met some really, really cool people. I've learned to be consistent. Not motivated, but consistent. Consistency is the big one. You want to be consistent when you're doing a podcast. When you're doing a podcast, consistency is key. If you're just willy-nilly in it, if you're just every now and then just putting a podcast out there, you do one week, maybe 3 weeks later you do another one, you don't want to do that. You want to stay consistent. Those people, those loyal listeners are coming back to listen to you. I know because I listen to podcasts. And I know that when I listen to a podcast, I want to know that 8 o'clock on Monday morning, that podcast is going to be there. And if it's not there, something's wrong. What happened? Where'd they go? Why aren't they here? So you have to be consistent. Be consistent for your listeners. And that taught me another thing, that it gave me something to look forward to. Like every week I look forward to doing the podcast. Sometimes it's a struggle, but I'm always happy at the end of it. I'm proud of it. The finished product, I'm always learning. 10 years later, I'm still learning new skills. And that's another thing is it taught me was learning new things with technology. Because I was barely able to do to send an email 10 years ago. And that's the truth. I could barely send an email 10 years ago. I struggled just to the basics of computers. So I had to learn a lot in a short period of time. And over the years, I've learned a lot. Still a lot to learn because I'm not tech savvy. Luckily, I had a son and a wife that were a little bit better at it than I am. Or a lot better at it than I am, I should say. And they were a great help. As you get older, we need to know how to do these things with computers because everything's going to computers. Everything's going to AI now. And we need to learn those skills. And it's never too late. That's another thing. It's never too late. I don't care how old you are. It's never too late. I was in my middle 50s when I started the podcast. I mean, Walt Disney himself was in his middle 50s when he was building Disneyland. Colonel Sanders was he 65 when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken? Don't let your age stop you. You can do it at any age. And here's a big one is Would I do it all over again? And the answer is yes, absolutely yes, I would do it all over again. I'm still doing it 10 years later, almost 10 years later. One of the things it taught me was patience and curiosity, to be curious. It's like a little kid. You know, when little kids are growing up, they're curious about everything and they're learning every day. They're learning something new, whether it's walking, talking, seeing new things, experiencing new things, trying new things, building new things. They're always learning. Their curiosity is driving them to learn. And I think as we get older, I'm 65, as we get older, that curiosity, you want to keep that curiosity up. You want to be curious about everything. And after 10 years of podcasting, I decided I want to learn how to edit video, just for the fun of it, just as a little hobby. And that's what I've been doing. That's why I'm doing this channel. I'm doing this channel because I want to push myself. I want to be more curious. I want to teach myself something new. After doing the podcast for 10 years, I thought it was time to try something new. I'm still doing the podcast and I'll continue to do the videos because I'm learning and I'm excited. And that's what another thing that it does is it keeps you excited. It keeps you excited about learning something new. I think we all can get in a rut. It was funny because my brother-in-law came in today and he said to me, you ever feel like sometimes you're just doing the same thing over and over and over? It's just the same thing, the same grind, day after day after day. And I know exactly what he was talking about. And if you're in that position, maybe it's time to change. Maybe it's time to do something different. It doesn't have to be a podcast. It doesn't have to be YouTube videos. It could be anything. It could be picking up a new musical instrument. It could be training. It could be drawing, painting. It could be anything. It could be volunteering somewhere. Something to get you out of your normal daily routine. Something that's different. And that will keep you excited, keep you interested, keep you curious, and keep your mind going as you get older. And maybe help you enjoy life as we get older. Just a little bit more. Get you out of that rut if you're in the rut. Well, let me know in the comments if you've started something or you're thinking about starting something. I've encouraged my friends to start a podcast. I know that in the 10 years or close to the 10 years that I've been doing this podcast, I've got several friends that have started Disney podcasts. I've got several friends that have started podcasts that aren't Disney related. One does it on marriage, and one does it on finance. One does it for his students. And a lot of them said it was because of us, because of our podcast. And I encourage everybody to do a podcast or a YouTube channel or just something new. Tell me what you're trying. Tell me if you're gonna do something new. Tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments if you decided to do something new and what it is. All right, I guess that's gonna do it. And you know what I'm gonna say, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up, hit that bell, and subscribe to the channel because it's free. Hardly anything in life's free anymore, but this is free. So I appreciate it. I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, go start something new.